Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Progress Report. It is me, your boy, Dion Sage, and yes, it is the season finale of season 4. Cuatro. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ha, 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 I count up to 4. Yes, season 4, and I'm so excited that today we have 3 wonderful people that I have spoken to before the show. 2, I'm getting to know tonight. 1, like literally, he was like the inaugural guest. So he's like got the crown on the Progress Report. So watch out, Harrison Tuttle and Jennifer Rook, because Alex Kithis is here today. Yes, baby, work. So I'm so excited to have Alex Kithis back. As y'all know, he was our first guest, and it's always great to have Alex here. And then I'm also going to be speaking with Jackie Goldman, who is a candidate running for City Council in Ward 5 in the city of Providence. And the other person that I have here is Zachary Pereira, and I'm really excited to speak with them tonight as well. This is going to be absolutely fun, because you want to know why? I am all gears. I am popping, because today I got to spend some time with someone who I got to know last summer, and she's here. She is here. And you know, when she comes in, the last time we had her here, she didn't just not come with the comedy, she also came with the facts. And I always love talking to the sister, right? Yes, I'm talking about my sister, Kamika. Kamika is here, and I can't wait to talk to her. And before I do have a conversation with everyone, I hope everyone's getting ready for the holidays. It is December 2nd. Yesterday, yesterday I had the privilege of just reading so many wonderful Facebook comments of people telling their stories. And not just telling their stories, the love and support that went out. I want to shout out a monarch in the Imperial Court of Connecticut, Miss Frank, for your live yesterday. Your live really gave me a lot of hope for humanity, a lot of understanding, and a lot of clarity around being brave when it comes to talking about the still pandemic of HIV and AIDS. And I just want to say this: we stand with everyone. I stand with everyone, and you guys all know it's no secret. In prayer, I stand with you in prayer. I stand with you in the natural. I will fight for you each and every time. I love you, and anybody ever wants to talk, I'm always here. Period. So, with that said, I do have a couple of things that have been bothering me though this holiday season. I just want to say this. Listen, I understand everybody's trying to get that gift for their child so they can be the best parent in the world. And it is wonderful you to be the best parent in the world. You want to be the best parent in the world, but you don't have to knock people over and push old ladies over and push through the crowd to get what you want. Like, can we have a little decency and a little humanity? Today, I was out at this. I went down to the store because I needed a turtleneck for tonight. Yes, I went and got a turtleneck for tonight. I'm telling you that right now because I needed to look good for you all. I hope you like it. But while I was there and out, I seen a group of young people literally brush past an elderly woman without any remorse. Another kid thought it would be funny as we were all going up the escalator, standing there with our bags, decided he was going to hit the emergency stop button. I mean, seriously, they were doing that when I was in 9th grade. We're still doing this? That was 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm showing my age. Seriously, let's show some human decency and some humanity, period, when we're out there. Let's show some Christmas spirit, some little spirit, little joy. You know, joy to the world. Deck the halls with balls of holly. What are balls of holly anyway? So, like I said, let the festives be gay. Make the Yuletide gay. It's Christmas season. And what other way to be gay when we're going to sit here and talk about the LGBTQ community and Canada's in the LGBTQ community? That's wonderful. We are Christmas. Look at all the colorful lights, bright lights, costumes, all that. That's us. You're welcome. Anyway, with all that said, we have my good friend Kamika here, and she's right here. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, one the only Miss Kamika Ross.
Boom.
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 Yo, how you gonna come up here looking fresh?
Hey, I try.
Looking fresh. Got that hat backwards.
I try. You know.
Got me up here looking like I'm ready for Sunday service.
I mean, you look fresh all the time, so I'll be trying. You know. I try my hardest.
Kamika.
Like this.
Yeah, get the pillow. Yeah, there's a little pillow. You know, these are studio. These are not real seats. These are just.
Yeah.
Actually, guys, we're actually not really sitting down. We pretend to sit down. Our producer decides not to give us seats. He thinks it will help our core strength. No, I'm joking. But these seats.
I'm trying to do that anyway.
Yeah. Right. So, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
I mean.
Yeah.
I think the last time I seen you was at the Leopold rally.
Yeah.
That was a few months ago.
That was a few months
ago. That was a few months ago.
That was a few months ago.
And since then, what have you been doing? But first, how was your holiday?
My holiday was cool. It was good. I went home to Georgia, so that was nice. Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I loved it. It was warm. No snow.
No snow.
No snow.
No changing weather.
No changing weather. That was like the best.
I can't stand New England. I was born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. Let me tell you something. I love Providence, but I can't stand the weather. No. Like this weather is like just.
It's horrible.
Terrible. You don't listen. You gotta dress. You gotta go, when you wake up in the morning and go leave for work. You gotta dress for winter, and then be ready for summer.
At any time.
And then ready for the rain. And then back to winter.
Yes. I've been here for 10 years and up here, and I will not get used to it ever. No.
I've been up here my entire life.
Yeah. I don't understand how you're not used to it. Maybe I would expect maybe, but
no.
I like it.
I just no. You know what? I'll be honest. I do enjoy a good New England like fall.
Yeah.
Season.
Okay.
I do enjoy a good New England fall because of the colors.
Yeah.
The colors of the leaves and the foliage. I love that. I love spring, again, because of the colors.
But there's no spring. I mean, there's like winter and then summer.
Yeah, that's true. Welcome to New England, everyone.
New England,
winter then summer.
That's all there is.
And then back to winter.
Winter. It's like 10 months out of the year, right? Yeah.
So what have you been doing since the last time you talked?
Since last time we've talked, so we're still strategizing. So I am doing work with the BLM Pact. So still doing work there, organizing there. We've been focusing on the redistricting process, the gerrymandering issue around the prison gerrymandering issue. So trying to get folks out to pay attention to that. Like redistricting is very important, people. It's still going on. If you can, like, submit some maps.
So what are the, like, with redistricting that's happening? And, I've spoken about the redistricting.
Yeah.
I've been through the redistricting process in my early years working on campaigns. And it's been a shady process.
This is my first time actually, like, paying attention to it and, like, trying to be involved in it. And it's a can we curse in here? No, yeah, it's a fucked up process. It's like they don't want your involvement. Essentially, it's like the government. It's like, oh, you want us to draw these lines? No, we're going to give it to this racist white man to draw these lines on our behalf. And then we're going to accept them. But we're going to do this show of having public comment. But in the end, whatever our consultant says is what's going to go. It's like pretty shady. And it's like, they don't, do you know what the commission is called?
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking.
No, I want you to say it.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, see, okay. It's called reapportionment. The Special Commission on Reapportionment.
Reapportionment.
Yeah. What the hell is that? Exactly. We know it as redistricting, and they call it reapportionment.
Oh, yeah. They call it reapportionment.
Reapportionment.
What are they portioning?
I don't know.
Sunday ham?
I don't know.
Big macaroni and cheese?
Probably.
What the hell are they? What that?
I don't know. I like this thing. It's not accessible. They don't want us to. So, trying to, because if we get some awareness around that, then, and then we get people out to vote and actually pay attention to what legislators are doing, so we can get the people who don't represent our interests out of there.
And I think that's what it is. I think many of these lines at times are drawn up just to keep certain power to go a certain way. I watched it, and Congressional District 1 was not in Washington Park 10 years ago. Before 11, 12, 15, you go back before 2011. Davis and Cellini was mostly East Providence and Bristol and the East Side, that area.
Oh, wow.
And in 2010 during the redistricting, year 2010 to 11, that's when they redistricted Davis and Cellini into Washington Park and South Providence, and he had to split it because we had Langevin. Langevin was my congressman. Prior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the history of.
Listen,
but,
I listen.
I can't believe it though, because like
one thing I will say is, like, history can teach us something, and it's like it can teach us something because we can learn from history. We can learn from the history of politics and what has been done before and things like that. But also at the same time, we can't get stuck on dwelling on what has been done in the past, because I think then we just become stagnant.
Right. Yeah. You're supposed to use it to inform you, right?
So I definitely got a couple of topics for us today.
Let's do it.
Okay. So Dr. Anthony Fauci, he has said a lot of things. One of my favorite things that he said recently, I'm going to say this, is he said that I guess we're just going to have to learn to live with COVID. America's going to have to get used to living with COVID. Something along those lines. And I'm watching this and I'm like, dude, we knew that when the first person didn't want to wear a mask. Like, seriously, like, when Donald Trump called it a hoax, we knew that we're going to have to live with this. What the hell? Like, when a whole Republican Party and Tea Party and Marjorie Taylor Greene, remember her? They all didn't take it serious. They were walking around without masks, coughing on people.
Listen,
Florida.
They still don't wear masks.
Jesus.
They still don't wear masks. They won't go get vaccinated. All this. They will. This is the only time we can get something free from the government, and people won't go get it. That's crazy.
Right? When's the last time the government gave something
for free?
Something for free.
Not the government. Not even the government. Like, oh, you need help? I'm gonna give you back your tax money. Like, no, not giving me my tax money back. I mean, like, you giving me something. You paying for me to go get.
You paying for me, and you won't.
That's crazy.
Listen, in some states they giving money to go get the vaccine.
I'm mad.
I'm mad. Why did they do that in Rhode Island? I'd have been, yo. Go on.
Hey, I would have got mine like in December. Listen, I would have been one of the guinea pigs. Okay? Listen, you give me a raffle talking about a scholarship. Listen, I will go back to school for that.
fool.
No,
taking the money.
Listen.
Y'all hear Chicago? Take the money.
Only
I might
time.
move to Chicago and get a second vaccine.
I don't know. It's cool.
But Dr. Anthony Fauci also said COVID diverted resources from the fight against HIV. He told the UN yesterday that COVID-19 diverted resource from the fight against HIV. So it's going to be harder to reach the goal to end the AIDS crisis by 2030. He also said that COVID-19 has disrupted the global supply chains, which can make it harder to get HIV medications to people.
Do you know what people had to go through for them to actually take the virus seriously? To start research? And now you're just like, oh, we're gonna halt some research. Like now that we are like making some kind of gains on it, you know?
I mean, my thing is like, for me, when it comes to money, and I'm just gonna talk about the state of Rhode Island. I'm gonna talk about the state of Rhode Island alone. There's money that they don't even tap into. You know what I mean? So my thing is like this, like there's money that this country doesn't tap into, that states don't tap into. They hold on to it. They put it in their general budgets so they can control that and say where it's going to go and things like that, instead of using it for what it is. They only use a lot of, and I look, after talking to general, there are multiple states that use less than 10% of their budget. 10% of the money, spend 10% of their fiscal budget. So you mean to sit here and tell me that you could be spending more? So don't sit here and give me that like the resources were diverted. No, you just don't want to divert the right resource. You don't want to just add more money and bring that money up. Right. Let's stop playing. Yeah. And let's really stop playing. When the hell is? I'm sick of hearing about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos trying to go up the damn space. Oh my! And we ain't got money for simple things as COVID and HIV research and finding a cure. That is some bullshit. In the words of my grandmama, you're lying a sack of shit.
Listen, but then do you know that like also they're like using up resources? Because they had to build the whole thing for them to shoot out of space in, I think it's Arizona. And you know they ain't got no water in Arizona. They already in a drought. And so he's there diverting water from folks in Arizona so he could go up to space. Because you got to be there to
people in Michigan ain't got clean drinking water. And he diverting water. And you could be using that money to sit there and get clean drinking water to Flint. Yes. Listen, I understand. Y'all want to research space. That's great. You have the money to do it. But let's take care of the planet that we have right here. Let's take care of the people on this planet right here.
Right. But they don't care because it's all about, if they can get some money out of it.
They don't give a rat's
capitalism.
Ass.
Yeah.
They can give a rat's ass.
Rat's ass. Yeah. As long as they can if they can't make no money off of it, they're not going to do it.
No. Not at all. Not at all.
And like, are they actually helping like research for space? Like, what? Because I thought they were just going up there looking and then coming back.
Oh, that's what they're doing?
Yeah, they don't stay up there.
Oh, they're going on vacation?
No, it's like 10 minutes, yo. They like literally get on the thing.
They're going on a 10 minute
vacation. I was mad, yo. Cause like they did the whole TV was like, yo, we gonna spend all morning watching these folks.
Good night, everyone. I don't know what we're doing here anymore. Why do we come here to talk about these things? I quit. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. These billionaires are literally wasting money, just throwing it in our faces, and we're not alarmed. We're not upset. To go up. You know what?
Listen, let's really look at the whole dynamics of what they're doing.
Let us wake up. Let us wake up, America. Yes. But we gotta go. We gotta go to commercial.
I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah, me too. This was. Yeah, I know.
We didn't even get to the second topic.
Did we even talk about Fauci?
No, we didn't.
I mean, everybody talks about Fauci.
Everybody talks about Fauci. You know what I mean? Fauci's the hot button for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Good or bad, I don't know. I don't know. His name's Tony, so.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I wonder if I can call him Tony.
I'd walk up and like, hey, what's up, Tony?
Tony.
I think he's like, hey, how you doing? Everybody, I'm having a wonderful time right now. We'll be right back after these messages.
Kikipedia, your online guide to LGBTQ plus bars, clubs, and events. Find all the tea on your local gay bars. Home of the internet's most comprehensive digital drag show and virtual event guide. Visit kikipedia.app or dragstreams.com now!
And we are back. How's everyone doing out there? I'm here with Kamika Ross. And we're just having a good time. I'm Dion Sage, season 4, season finale. It's already been wild. It's about to get wilder. I don't even know if that's a word. Is that a word?
Wilder? Yeah. Wilder. I think so, yeah. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Oh. Professor Sherman, if you're watching, I know she usually watches, she'll inbox me. You know, you said that word wrong. She does. She torments me. But then, we go for a glass of wine.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, she's cool.
It's like the tough.
She was my old college professor. Yeah. Oh, she was tough on me. All the other professors, they passed me with A's. And when I got to her and I got my first C, I said, "What is this?"
What? Oh.
Yeah. And she's like, "Well, here."
That one, did you actually grade you?
And then
real?
Boom. And when I finally got the A from her,
yeah.
Oh, I felt like $1 million. It's life changing.
Yeah.
Right. So again, we've had a wonderful show so far, and I can't wait to bring my panel in. I have 3 wonderful people here. First person, you all know him. He's been on the Progress Channel before. He was one of our first guests, former city councilman in Woonsocket, and we're going to get him back in there by the grace of God and everything in my power. We're going to get him back down there in city council in Woonsocket. We also have Zachary Pereira, and if I'm wrong about that, Zachary, if you can correct me, he is running for State House, Representative District 22. And we also have Jackie Goldman, who is running for Providence City Council, Ward 5. Welcome, all of you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, how's everyone doing today?
Great, thank you. Loving the show so far.
Yep. Zachary, am I saying your last name wrong? Please correct me. I want to make sure I have it right.
Dion, there are so many Portuguese people in Rhode Island. I'm surprised. You're getting it right though. It's Pereira.
Okay, no, bro. Nice. And you know what, Alex, you're muted. Apparently. And Alex, it's great to see you. Jackie, welcome. And both you and Jackie and Zachary, first time to the show. Alex, you're always doing stuff, brother. You're always on the move. You are always busy. I'm surprised you didn't call me to come down there and join you. I'm thinking about it, but I do have a lot this weekend. How are you doing, Alex?
I am good, and yeah, I haven't gone through and called friends and stuff to come down yet, but was gonna do that this weekend. So you will be getting a call from me to remind you. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
I guess.
And just for the record, I'm actually running for state rep.
Sorry.
Just for the record, I'm actually running for state rep next year.
You're running for state rep. Oh, snap. I did not know that. Actually, no, it was right here. I didn't read it. I just got excited because you were on the show, Alex, and just went off the whole whim. Alex Kithis is running for State House Representative District 49. It's in my notes. My producer right now, he's looking at me like, I'm going to throat punch you when you walk off this camera. Well, there we go. Career's over. Season 4, end of the Progress Channel. That's it. I'm done.
4 seasons is all you get.
But on a serious note, Alex, you're out doing some real groundwork, grassroots work right now. You're out there right now on the State House lawn, along with other some who are elected officials and other people running for office and community leaders. And your commitment right now to being out there. First, what are you doing? And tell us your commitment and tell us where this comes from.
Yeah, so we are we are right in front of the State House. I'm in a tent right now, so I apologize for the blusteriness sounds around me. So on Tuesday evening, Cynthia Mendez, who is running for lieutenant governor, she's a state senator right now, she put out the call basically with 2 key demands. The first one, that no one freeze to death in Rhode Island this year. And the second one, that we solve that problem with safe and dignified housing as a human right for everyone. And those are demands that, there's a lot of money that the state could be using to meet those demands. The ARPA funds, more federal funding. There's lots of different ways to do it. And the key point is it can be done. And so she put out the call, and 6 people, quite a few more than that gathered Tuesday night, and then 6 people ended up sleeping here, myself included, as well as Cynthia and Matt, who are running for lieutenant governor and governor respectively, and a couple more activists. And then last night, there were 12 or 13 people slept here. And basically the plan is that we are going to be here until those demands get met, because it's getting colder. It was below freezing the first night, and I think it was pretty close to freezing last night. And it's hard. And the point that we're making and the demand that we have is that no one should have to do this. And, it's essentially using the privileges afforded to us to try to create this really big change in the state of Rhode Island.
So, Zachary and Jackie, for the past few weeks here on the Progress Show, we've been really talking about the houselessness issue in Rhode Island. We've talked about how Rhode Island housing has not had adequate housing. They can't get people on the roll. That's part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is there's not enough affordable or low income housing, or housing just simply free for people that literally can't afford it. Both of you, all three of you actually running, but I would like to hear, a perspective from either Zachary or Jackie. Either you can go first on how you would tackle this issue as a city councilor, or how you would tackle this as a state representative.
Yeah. So I actually think about this all the time. My day-to-day job is doing overdose prevention work. And so a lot of the folks that I work with are unhoused. And I work with a lot of the harm reduction folks like Project Web Renew, Community Care Alliance, and those people. And so, we've been hearing for a while that the number of people who are unhoused and unsheltered is up 500% year over year. Actually, last year I went into some of the hotels where they've been sheltering people. And folks, might lose access to vouchers and then have to pay $65 a night for a room that has bed bugs and roaches and all this stuff. So we need drastic action. I think that certainly what we need to do is change some zoning practices so that we can get more family housing. We need to do things like one of the big things that I'm running on is ending what's called tax stabilization agreements. And these are multi-million-dollar tax cuts that go to luxury developers to build buildings where average rent for one room might be $1,400 a month, which is a complete mismatch with the fact that the average person in Providence makes $22,000 a year. And then that would, instead of giving multi-million-dollar tax cuts, we would bring money into the city by actually building units of affordable housing and doing stuff like that. And housing is actually one of my biggest concerns, and one of the main things that I lead with every time at the doors, because it is such an essential right. It's harm reduction, it's overdose prevention, it's a human right, it is public health. And so I went down to the State House yesterday. I didn't stay to camp out. Maybe I will one of these nights coming up. And I think the work that they're doing is really important. And certainly it has to be front and centered, because people are dying and they don't need to be. This is fully preventable.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Zachary, if you were a state representative tomorrow, how would you tackle this? How would you tackle this? What legislations or what ways you think you could maneuver to ensure people or housing is affordable or low income?
Yeah, a large part of it, like Jackie said, is a lot of the zoning laws. But at the General Assembly, like you said earlier in the show, we have the money. And what we've seen throughout this pandemic is our government has the money to fund programs to benefit our citizens. And I was just, in anticipation of this show tonight, looking up just the average kind of apartment in Warwick right now. Cheapest I could find, $950. Okay. And that's one bedroom. That's actually a studio apartment, not even a one bedroom. And there was a $40 application fee for that. There are some ways that we can act at the State House, whether it's through incentivizing changes in zoning laws at the local level, the municipal level, encouraging, developers to produce affordable housing. It just seems like every housing project they build is luxury condos that no person in Rhode Island can afford, on their salaries. Working minimum wage, you're $11.50 an hour, you bring home about $400 a week. There's just no way. There's no way you can make it work. The math just does not add up. So the General Assembly has the money and the capability to act. There's just no political will right now.
Mm-hmm.
Rhode Island always does this thing. Oh, sorry. Where they have all this money to do things, but then don't we have a $600 million budget surplus because there were all these for example, full-time equivalents in BHDDH that were budgeted for, but then they just didn't spend the money. And so we have folks that like want to get into behavioral health care, want to get into treatment, want to do all these kinds of things.
I'm still on the 1.1. I'm still on the $1.125 billion that they haven't touched. I'm still on that. Okay, right. I'm still on the money, and I'm still on the money that they have coming in housing credits and renters relief and homeowners relief, and they don't have a plan for it. Like this state, the biggest problem with the legislator in this state is none of them have a fucking clue what they're doing.
No,
sorry.
No.
Not like I'm sorry, and I'm talking about legal, like collectively. Individually, when you sit down, they have the idea, but then they get down there. So many of them get down there, and it's like we forget. So my thing, and excuse my language, because it gets me upset that right now we like we have people sitting outside protesting outside the state house because someone can go cold and die and go hungry. Like where's the humanity? Jennifer wrote, she said it cost $700 million to end homelessness in Rhode Island. And we haven't even touched the 1.25 billion. Give me a break, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And today, did you see the governor came out touting that he was finally spending that bond that we passed 9 months ago, finally getting that money out?
Right. Which then like that's totally ridiculous that then they also like change the word, like the wording in those is also so ambiguous, and so even though it's supposed to go to one thing, it gets used for another. Like how they were almost going to use the transportation bomb to build that mist ring in Kennedy Plaza. At least that's not going forward anymore. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah, okay. But no, so there was money that was going to be dedicated in a bond measure to transportation, and it was supposed to go to bus riders and building like additional hubs from Kennedy Plaza. And there was this brief moment in time where it looked like, because of luxury developers, what they were going to do is dismantle Kennedy Plaza, put in a massive mist ring, just like a mist ring, and then like displace bus riders.
Yes.
Right.
So they were talking. I believe, Jackie, that plan was to put the bus hubs all through the city. And I was one of those people who said, well, wait a minute. What if I have to take connecting bus, and now I have to go from, instead of going, less than 30 seconds to catch this bus, now I gotta go. I gotta go 5 minutes, 6 minutes across the other side to downtown to get the bus. That's a problem. You're not thinking about people who work, or people who have to go to the doctor, people who are just bus ride, or who just want to ride public transportation. Period. I think I had another question somewhere in there, but Kamika, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I'm curious I'm just curious about what's happening out there at Alex. So you say until they pass it. So are you guys like going to stay out there even like through session and everything too? I'm just like concerned. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, so just so everybody knows, it's a little noisy, so I kept myself muted just while I'll keep myself muted until I speak. But yeah, no, I mean, I certainly am a little concerned too. Really hoping that the governor and General Assembly do the right thing, because it's not like, yes, we're out here, and we have the material advantage of access to, well, I think I have about 10 blankets in my tent, but there are a lot of folks in the state that don't have that and that are at risk of freezing to death this winter. And so we need those demands met, and that's honestly the end of the story. And it's Ruggiero and Shikarchi and McKee that need to do their jobs.
Yeah.
So with all that said, everybody out there that's watching, get up, call your state legislator. Call them at 2:30 in the morning, nonstop.
That would be great.
Great, just call them.
They
at
shouldn't
2:30 in the
sleep
morning.
if we can.
Exactly. Right? They should not sleep comfortable if there's people out there not sleeping comfortable.
Right.
And if I could do
make them
a
uncomfortable, because only when we make them uncomfortable
That's the only
does
time
real
change
change
happens.
happens.
Yes.
So with that said, we're going to be going to a commercial break, and we'll be right back. And so we're back, everyone. We're talking with Jackie Goldman, Zachary Pereira, and Alex Kithis, as well as Kamika Ross is here. And, I'm your host, Dion Sage. Welcome to our final episode of season 4. We've already had wonderful things. I dropped an F-bomb tonight, so I have to put some money in the swear jar.
Yeah.
It was well deserved.
It was. I agree. Probably you should put extra.
I look like that emoji.
That's my favorite one because that's always mad. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
So we were talking about housing. Alex is out at the State House right now, joining us live. Alex, thank you for that. Zachary and Jackie, you guys are you both are running for respective office. Jackie, you're running in my city, and I'm very sensitive about Providence. So I'm gonna pick on you for a moment if you don't mind, and then I want both Alex and as well as Zachary to expound on it. The education system in Providence, we will be getting by the next term, if you become city council, we'll be getting our education system in the city of Providence back from the state. Many people have said the state has failed. I will sit here and say, as a product of the Providence school system, that the Providence school system has failed for many, many years. And I know many people who has failed even before my time, even during my parents' time, and so on and so forth. With us getting the city, with the city getting Providence schools back, what strategies do you think the city needs to take to get our school system competing at the highest level and bringing our kids to the next level, our students to the next level?
And you're welcome to pick on me for this. I'm honored to be asked these questions, and something that I think a lot about because education is everything, right? So first of all, let's pay some teachers more. So right now, I think that the starting salary in the Providence school system is like $30,000. So how are you going to recruit and retain the best educators when you're like not paying them a good wage? It's like really low. So first of all, let's do that. Second of all, let's get rid of the appointed school committee. Like some of the people on that committee are really just political favors. They have no investment in the actual.
I'm sorry, Jackie. I don't mean to interrupt you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Like, why do you want a lobbyist for liquid natural gas and luxury developers being the person who's the president of the school system? And I recognize that that individual is, stepping or is like done with his term, but like it doesn't mean he's not going to be filled with another political favor. So I'll cheer. I have water. I will cheers.
That's fine. I have water too. Cheers to that, Jackie. Like, let's get rid of that school board that's appointed by the mayor's office, and for the reasons that you're saying.
And then the other thing that I'd say is like, and I'm not trying to say that charter schools are all bad, but taking money going to the public school system and putting it in the charter school system doesn't help, because it's like, I understand that those can be a really important resources, but that's limited, right? Like not everyone has access to the charter school versus like everyone should have access to public schools. So we need to make sure that like the funding is going into the actual schools. And I'm not just talking about like outside paint jobs that like look nice. I'm talking about like fixing the fact that there's like mold in the buildings and like students have toxic like learning environments, and like, like we need to do something that's not just like a superficial, like nice looking repair, but like real infrastructural investment. And so those are just some of my thoughts, but right now it's really just about ending the state takeover and then making sure that also when we do end it, we can get leaders.
Right now, I'm looking at the comments right now, and Monica Herthez is watching.
Okay.
Monica, shout out to you, Monica, babe. We love you. And she is yelling Jackie on in the comments right now, because you're speaking facts. You're absolutely right. As someone who's an educator, and I was in charter education. I was in charter education for 8 years. Did a little bit of public education. I said, you know what, I can't do this, because it was very different. In charter education, we had smaller classroom sizes, not just smaller classroom sizes. I'll be honest, I got paid well for being a teacher's assistant. When I went to Providence School System, what they were willing to pay me as a teacher's assistant, I'm like, that's bogus. Like,
and not all charters are made equal. There's some certainly that like I don't want them in this city. Some that do amazing jobs, but like especially for like low income families of color, like this is their opportunity to have school choice. And so it's not just like as white and black as like moratorium to charter schools. What we need to do is just not give money earmarked for public schools to the public charters. Like it's just two separate things, and like the money, like money investment in education needs to be accessible for every single student in Providence. But I can recognize
Henderson says, yeah, stop sitting on it and use it for those who need it. And I believe they're talking about when it comes to funding, when we're talking about education, education is underfunded in the city of Providence. City of Providence has the most students out of any school district in the state, and it's underfunded, one. And then two, also, one of my biggest issues has always been the size of the classroom. Even when I was a student, how do you put 30 kids to one teacher in a classroom? Listen, sometimes when I was a specialist at the school I worked at, like 20 kids were a lot to one on some days. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine having 30 every day, and then mind you, I had those same 20 kids all day long. I had those same 20 kids all day long versus having 30 kids, each class, period. That's
big.
Listen, the last thing that I'll add.
How can you like teach and have people absorb things in classrooms where there's so much going on?
It's so much going on.
Like, how do you give them wow.
Right.
And if I can just add one last quick thing, and then I definitely want to hear from the other folks, is that the council should be putting pressure on the state to adjust the funding formula so that like the school, like Providence School District, like gets proportionally the money that they should have. Like they need to be putting more heat on the state. And now I will stop talking because I know that the other folks have lots of interesting and good things to say.
What do you think the state could have done better in the state takeover? Because essentially the state takeover, it affected, because I believe it took in my opinion, it took Commissioner Green away from looking at other areas such as Central Falls, looking at the Warwick school system, looking at Woonsocket school system, where she had to focus on Providence school system. What do you think the state legislation could have did better to ease her job, but to help fix and make it better?
I mean, it's just I'm not super well versed in that situation because it does up in Providence, but you know, my mom's an educator. She's a teacher in a public high school in the state. I'm in higher education, right? So I think there's a lot of things that have gone wrong, and Infante Green is our like fourth commissioner in like 3 years, right? So I just think that it's a very top-down approach, and they're not getting the buy-in from the teachers or the buy-in from the students, and any strategy, anything like that, where you don't get the buy-in from all the stakeholders, it's doomed to fail. No matter who you put in there, no matter who you hire from wherever, how many other jobs they have while they're doing that job in Providence. I just think it's been just poor leadership, poor decisions from the top, and a very top-down approach. And unfortunately, the people who are getting left behind in this are the students. And I see this in my work in higher education admissions. And then kind of just transition the topic a little bit to Warwick schools. I mean, all of our schools are falling apart. In Warwick, we have an elementary school in my district that had to be closed at the beginning of the year because there was so much mold that the entire school was just covered in mold. And then they were doing renovations and they found out that the HVAC system has been sealed since the 1980s. So it's just like, what are our kids learning in? You know what I mean? And then we have a busing issue here in Warwick. Our whole education system is just students aren't being put first.
Right. Yeah. We need to change our framework to consider education a right. Like, now they're just
education
like,
is a human right.
It is. But like they don't treat the way they approach it, our system approaches it. It's not
You're right.
It's not approached as a human right.
It's
like a thing
the
that
same way they approach houselessness and healthcare and all the other basic human rights.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Ugh.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you think? What do you think? How could the state have done better with Providence, and how could the state have done better overall?
Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I'm not too well versed in the Providence schools takeover issue, other than just it seems like there's a pretty good public consensus that it didn't work. But I can definitely speak to Woonsocket. We were last year or the year before the most underfunded per student school district in the state. I think it was a couple $1,000s, maybe somewhere around $2,500 per student. And that's largely the fault of the funding formula that the state uses. Communities that are both lack a large amount of property tax revenue and also have a lot of low-income students tend to actually do more poorly in terms of how much state funding they get relative to communities that have a lot of poor students but have a lot of property tax revenue, like Newport. And that the unfortunate reality is that there were, very political decisions that were made when this version of the funding formula was implemented, and they were to the disadvantage of a lot of the urban core, communities like Woonsocket, Pawtucket, Providence.
I remember when the education funding formula went out. It wasn't a good one. I believe, if I remember, it was someone who in 2010 that the current funding formula went out, and I don't believe it was a good one. We complained about it.
Like you're paying for education with property taxes. Like that's where you went wrong in the first place. So
can I say one more thing here?
Yes.
We also don't need 30 superintendents either for Rhode Island, the state, a state the size of Rhode Island.
Why are there so many? Why?
Save a lot of money right there.
Great point. Yes. So you're gonna put a bill in for that once you're up there in the State House.
Listen. I'm all for regionalization. I'm all for regionalization. I think you could break Rhode Island up into 3 or 4 regions and have one superintendent for each region.
Yeah.
Period. I really do believe that.
And distribute resources adequately across the region, and then you bring up everyone's education level.
I'll say this. One thing I do believe in, and I'm gonna speak on Providence. I believe we can get administration done with less. I believe administration can be done with less. And you know what else I would say this? In public education, I think what needs to happen seriously in public education is we need to take every administrator and shut down the school departments and put them in the school buildings where the students are, because now they can sit there and see the decisions that they make on a day-to-day basis, on curriculum, on how people implement the curriculum. They can see how it affects. Charter schools do that. That's why charter schools are effective. Private schools do that. That's why they are effective. But public schools don't. We put our administrators in a building and they visit and just do walkthroughs, and that's it. They don't get to know the students. They don't get to know the teachers that have to implement the curriculums they put in. Right? How do you manage something if you're absent?
Right.
How do you fix something if you're absent? So I do have some questions that I need to go into. Two questions real quick. I know my producer's like, hey, we got to go to commercial because we got final thoughts and all this stuff. But quick, each of you, quick, like 30 seconds each. What does it mean to be, what do you think it does it mean to be an LGBTQIA plus candidate in today's political world? I can start with you, Alex.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I actually was in office when I came out at the end of 2019 as bisexual, and that was terrifying. But one of the I kept kind of deciding to and then not because I was afraid of pushback from my family, my friends, at the many people who pay attention to my life. And so, but it was super, super important to me to make that decision because, in no small part, because to whatever tiny effect that it may have had to making some 15-year-old kid in the closet, or somebody my age still in the closet or whatever, more comfortable to come out, that it might have, to whatever extent that it could have made it, easier for somebody who's been out for a long time, but, has experienced any sort of hate. I felt like it was, it's so important to have leaders, and specifically elected leaders, who are openly out. Obviously that's to say that, if coming out would be dangerous for somebody, they should, you have to do what's right for yourself, of course. And yeah, that's and also, I guess, I mean, just and this is, kind of very on topic because Ken is, what, not visible in the call, but, Ken had approached me to establish the first Woonsocket Pride while I was in the while I was on the city council in summer of 2020, and it was a really great opportunity to establish that in our community. So I've talked way too much. Sorry.
Listen, no, you're absolutely right. That first, I was at the first Woonsocket Pride on June 28th, 2021. And those of you who don't know, that's my birthday, so please send gifts. But it was wonderful to spend my birthday on out in Woonsocket, and also at the same time honoring Stonewall. It was wonderful, but also honoring my birthday.
All about the birthday.
Jackie, same question.
So I think Alex pointed out representation is really important, and not just my queer, but non-binary. We've never had a non-binary city council person, so that's pretty cool. But also, we know that LGBTQ folks have higher rates of homelessness, higher rates of poverty, higher rates of all these kinds of things. And so having people in the community who really want to address these issues, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because there's a lot of personal stake there, I think is really important. And it's a vantage point where folks have had real experiences living with these kind of difficult structural things. And so those are the people who need to be making policy to make sure that it works for every single person and not just the rich white men at the table.
Zachary.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah, no, I mean, I tweeted today after watching all of this Supreme Court stuff recently that, they're coming for us. And the people in office, like we were just talking about, they don't care about us, right? They're fine in their life, they're fine in their house with their boats and their fancy yacht clubs and cocktail parties, and they're not going to care about Obergefell if that decision gets overturned. And so who's going to fight for us if not us? So you gotta protect your own. So that's why I'm in this.
Tamika, quickly, and then we're gonna go to quick commercial.
I'm not running.
I know you're not running, but what do you think? How important is this to have? I want your opinion.
Oh, how I think it's very important. I think it's important because it's important for us to see ourselves in other folks, because that's how we dream, right? And that's how we see. That's how we get to see and dream beyond like whatever current circumstances they put in front of us, because our society is structured certain ways, right, to make us have certain experiences.
I'll be honest. I didn't agree with this person politically, but to see them in that position, I said, "Wow, I can see myself in that position."
Right.
It was
exactly.
Secretary of State, Secretary Powell.
Yeah, he was my big inspiration.
When I saw Secretary Powell as a black cisgender man assumed to become the first Secretary of State, which is one of the most powerful positions in the cabinet of the president.
Yes.
That felt good. Then to see Condoleezza Rice take it right afterwards was like, wow, we're moving. And then right after that, you get both of them endorse Barack Obama.
Listen. Yeah, I mean, seeing like Condoleezza Rice was a big thing. Like my aunt was like, "Hey, you see this black lady?" So it's like, wow, you can, you know what I mean? It makes a difference.
So we have to go to quick commercial. We'll be right back with final thoughts, everyone.
My name is Brian Sims, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I think every day about the values that my Army officer parents instilled in me: to take responsibility, to show empathy, to have courage, and to be authentic. I want to put those values to the direct service of the Commonwealth. I have a lot of hope when I look at the people across the country that decided over these last number of years that they'd had enough, that they looked at a lack of leadership and thought that they could do better, because oftentimes they're right. We are the antidote to broken politics. My time in the Pennsylvania legislature has taught me a lot about not only how Pennsylvania government works, but a lot about how it doesn't. It's taught me a lot about how to work with people who don't always agree with me. I think it's time for me to take what I've learned in the House and to be able to bring that leadership to the direct service of the governor. I want to be your next lieutenant governor. We need adults in the room, and I want to bring bold, visionary leadership based on lived experiences and shared values to the Commonwealth.
And we are back, and this has been a great conversation from the start. Season 4 finale. I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Zachary. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Kamika, for being here. But unfortunately, it is that time for us to say goodbye to our entire company. DIO. NBAKE and all this stuff.
What? I was like, wait, what is that?
I don't know what I'm spell.
You're making up stuff now. What is this?
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about the word I made up? I made up a word.
What
so there's a word that we describe people like Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, what is it?
Interstupid.
Interstupid.
Right? It's when their stupidity interdepends, interrelates on stupid stuff.
Oh, because it's stupid on stupid.
Yeah, it's just stupid on stupid on stupid. So interstupid.
Under foundation
just
stupid.
Interstupid.
Yeah, I like it. Interstupid. I got that. Yeah. I don't.
I coined that term right here on the. Huh?
I don't even use it.
You know what? I still say.
And
the
you know
names.
it sucks.
You know why I say the names? You know why I say the names? So people don't forget not to vote till we vote against them, okay? We got to remember who they are. If we disappear with their names, they'll come back. Like athlete's foot.
Ooh, we don't want that to come back. No.
But it is time for us to say goodbye. And so thank you to my panel tonight and each and every one of you. But now it's time for each one of you to give your final thoughts. So we're going to start with Zachary. Then we'll go Jackie, Alex. Then we'll go Kamika. And, I'll wrap it up. So Zachary, take it away.
All right, awesome. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. This is my first experience on the show. But all of us here can agree, and I'm sure all of your audience will agree, that we just need, a new vision for Rhode Island. We need people in power in the driver's seat who are actually going to make decisions and put people first, ahead of corporations, ahead of their lobbyist friends and all of their insiders up at the State House. So I'm just really proud to be running, a grassroots campaign here in Warwick. Hopefully we can get our roads fixed soon, our schools healthy and safe for our children. And I just want to thank you again for having me on the show tonight. And I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And I can't wait to get you back for a one-on-one interview in season 5. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Jackie.
Yeah. So like Zach said, thank you so much for having us on. And I think that one of the things that sort of wove through all of the themes here between supply chain shortages and not being able to get people with HIV medications and the stuff you're talking about with the schools and housing and all of that is that people don't have the motivation for whatever reason to take care of the everyday person. What we need to be doing, and this is what you guys are doing, is putting out content and inviting speakers on who are really here to change the system. And so I really feel honored to have been invited to be here, and am excited to keep working with y'all, both, as organizers and people who are running for office, to really make this city and this state and this country better, because everyday people deserve more.
Great. Thank you so much, Jackie. And I can't wait to have a one-on-one with you as well in season 5. Alex.
Yeah.
Man. It's always great. Let me just say this, Alex. It's always great to see you, to have a conversation with you. And I just want to say this. Thank you so much for answering the call when we started this project. From the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you. And you have not disappointed. Thank you for being a warrior in our community. Thank you for standing up and kicking down doors for Black and brown folk and then letting us in the door and leave. Thank you so much, Alex. And I don't support candidates normally here, but Alex, I endorse you fully for your position.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
All right. You can give your final thought. I'm about to cry.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for those very kind words. Yeah, and I mean this is a team effort, right? It's we so much of what Zach and Jackie said. I mean, we have so much power when we stand in solidarity together and fight these fights for better education, for housing as a human right, for a livable future, a livable climate, for racial justice and the defunding and dismantling the carceral system and structures of systemic oppression. And we have to stand together in these fights, and we can win them. So if I can make a quick plug, we are going to be out here for the foreseeable future. I'm one of the people who's coordinating people. So if anybody watching, any of you want to come out, want to sleep out one night, my number's 401-216-5136. Text or call me, and I can get you plugged in. There's strength in numbers. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Thanks for having all of us on. This was a really great night.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. Kamika.
Hoo-wee. You sure you want to do this? I'm just I'm ready. No, I'm joking. No, I hope everyone can see my sweatshirt. It says everyone loves somebody who's had an abortion. So I want to start with that, because in these current times, there are people that are trying to undermine the humanity of Black, brown, Indigenous, Asian, Pacific Islander folks. And in undermining that, they undermine everybody else. And so recognize the humanity in us. And also, white folks, it's time for y'all to seize power, to give it up, to let us take force, because these are our lives that are in stake. And we're the ones that are being the most negatively impacted by the shit that's happening, not only in Rhode Island, but also in DC, in the Congress. Bless Joe Biden's heart, but, let's get it together. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So just heed that, because we're in some times now, and you got to it's time for you to put your money where your mouth is. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, y'all show up to these protests, so let's actually do action, because the time is now, and we don't got no time to waste. Let's go.
Did you really just say
Black power?
Did you say bless Joe Biden's heart?
Yeah.
Did you give him the whole church mother
Listen.
like baby, you messing up?
Listen. He's trying, but
That's the
he
whole
got to
church
do
mother.
Listen.
So thank you to my panel. But I'm going to say I bid you all adieu tonight. Kamika, I bid you adieu tonight. Yes. I'll see you in a little bit. Yes. Happy holidays to my panel, by the way. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, we can't knock the hat off.
You can't knock the hat off.
We can't have none of that.
Oh. Nobody saw that.
So Chris, if you can give me some time quickly. Hi everyone. So season 4, season finale. Wow, I personally cannot believe it. I'll never forget when I was sitting in our producer Ken Barber's backyard, and he began talking to me about doing this project. And I'll never forget sitting down with our marketing director and our community outreach person, our marketing director, Trisha Fallon, and Tina Kane, who is our outreach person, our community outreach person. And then bringing it together with Ray Sirico, Chris Martin, bringing it together also with others we have added in and have come in and worked with us, from Grayson Rose to Gabriel Alvarez to Jaden Briera to my good friend Taylor Neptune, to all of our guests that came on, Alice Kithis, who was our first guest, to the support that I get from so many people out there. And I'm sorry if I miss a name, charge it to my head, not my heart. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And I want to say this, I honor each and every one of you. Alex had said something. We have to fight together. It's going to take all of us to fix this. It's going to take the politicians. It's going to take the media, the politicians to legislate, to get it, to listen to the people and do what's right by the people. But it's also going to take for the media. It's going to take for us, and I include myself in that, to give the facts and actually what's happening and give the information, and not taint it just to get a story, to get credits, to get ratings, because that's not what it's about. When we sat down and started this project, we said we wanted to bring information to our communities. And since then, we have done not just that, we've done so much more. And I didn't just do that with the team that works behind the scenes. I didn't just do that by myself. I did that with each and every one of you, each and every one of our viewers. Each and every person who came and sit here and talked, from community activists to city council candidates and city councilors, to representative candidates and representatives, to state senate candidates and state senators, to gubernatorial candidates and soon to be governor, actual governor, from mayoral candidates, and we just finished our mayoral candidates, to soon that I'll be able to interview, hopefully, a mayor. And I'm speaking that into existence because I'm a big believer in speaking in that. Thank you so much for working with us. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And if I could reach down in my pocket and give everybody a Christmas gift, I would, but I can't. All I can do is give my gratitude and give my honor. And with that said, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. But I have to just clear something up before I go. Harrison Tuttle and Jennifer Roque has had a debate on who has been on the show the most. We had an actual poll on Twitter, who's been on the show the most. And to be honest with you, Neither one of them has been on the show more than the other. They're both even. They're both tied. Ooh. You know who has been on the show more than Harrison Tuttle? Alex Kiffins. You know who has been on the show more than Jennifer Roque? Alex Kiffins. So why don't y'all play catch up, alright? That simple. Okay? Y'all trying to be leaders or something. But the truth is, the person that's been on the show the most outside of me has been Taylor Neptune. So you would have to try to catch up to him, which I don't see that coming in the foreseeable future. It might. I don't know. Who knows? Taylor Neptune, shout out to you. I'll see you later. See everybody later. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And remember, try to love someone. Try to hope beyond all belief. And to have faith beyond measure. I love you and may heaven smile upon you. Until January 2022, I'll see you later. Peace!